Well, welcome out there to my program. Always a pleasure to have you out there, and it's always a pleasure for me to be here. It's cold out there, and that's why I didn't wear a tie or a jacket. I bundled up to come to the studio tonight, and they tell me, my guests, that when I get out there, it's not much warmer. So this is winter, and we'll have to push through it like we usually do. I have guests that have been on many times before. They're school committee people, and we're going to get into some of the issues in regards to the Fall River District School Department. So welcome, Gabe Andrade and Joseph Martins.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Joe, back on the school committee. Gabe, this time around, you didn't run.
That's correct.
So your term ends in January, correct?
That's correct. I believe the inauguration may be January 2nd, so officially I'm done.
January 2nd, will they all be sober?
That's a good question. I'm guessing it's January 2nd because that's the first week of the month. The second week would be the scheduled meeting, I would think. So.
Yeah, but you're still welcome to come on.
Carl Caesar told me I was already packing my bags.
Oh, is that right?
That's right.
You're welcome on his program every third week, along with Joe. Always something to talk about. So, new school committee, pretty much, Joe, January 2nd or so?
Yes, there'll be 3 new members.
How many members?
3.
3.
3 new members. Kevin Aguirre is 1. Hessler. Josh Hessler. And
Tom Curry. Tom Curry.
Tom Curry.
Now, Hetzler, he's been, it's cleared, in other words, there was no issue in regards to the...
That's what the legal opinion has been, so...
Who rendered that?
The city attorney, Macy, and he contacted people in Boston for advice, and the issue came out that since he was elected by the people prior to the charter being implemented, because the charter doesn't get implemented until the 1st of January.
Well, he won't be sworn in until...
I understand, but he was elected prior to that. So as a result, the will of the people spoke to have him as a school committee person, and the legal opinion upheld that.
Although apparently he may, if things remain the same, Macy also stated that he would not be able to run for a second term because clearly at that point the charter would be in effect.
Yeah. Yeah. So, are you going to meet before the new committee is sworn in?
No, we had ours already.
No meeting?
No meeting. Well, there was a meeting, not last night, night before. Monday night.
So the next meeting will be with the new school
It should be.
committee.
Right, yeah.
And ceremonies for swearing in are held at BCC or at Durfee?
At Durfee. That's where the so-called inauguration is. It's at Durfee, and then you'll be sworn in. I won't be sworn in at that point in time because of the fact that I have a son that lives in Oregon.
Oh, Joe.
And grandkids that live in Oregon.
You're always out there in Oregon.
I only see them twice a year. That's it. And so I'm going for day after Christmas, flying out to Oregon and come back about the day after the school committee meeting, because I think it's January 8th.
Oh, it's the 8th.
I believe I'm flying back on January 9.
So you'll be specially sworn in?
Yeah. I've already spoken with Mrs. Bouchard, the city clerk.
She'll swear you in?
Yeah. Well, she's the swearing in.
So you'll go to the City Hall clerk's office and raise your right hand, tell everybody you're going to do.
So I'd like to simply say thank you to the voters who voted for me and elected me, and for those who voted not for me, then it's just I'll just have to try a little bit harder to gain your confidence.
Well, you're in there without much of a problem every time you run, Joe. So you've got a lot of people who support you and support what you have to say, and, you know.
Never take that for granted, though.
No.
No, no. So Gabe, that's it for politics for you, as far as office?
Most likely, but you never know. Right now, I'm not thinking about anything else in the near future.
Did you give any thought to this time around running for the city council?
No, absolutely not.
That's not something you would
No,
consider in the future?
As of this time, I'm not thinking about it at all. I don't think I would do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll have pretty much almost a new city, well, 1/3. There were 3 new city councilors.
Correct?
So that's 1/3 of the total number, which is 9 on the council. Do you think that, any ideas about the effect that might have on the governance of the city? Because it seemed that I'll say the other city council wasn't too much in step with the mayor.
Correct. I'm trying to think of
I think that if the mayor and this new city council looks like it has a new chapter in the book and get along a little bit better than they are, the mayor has to realize that, look, and recognize the fact of what the city council is to do, and give that value, as opposed to I'm going to do it my way or no way at all, and that doesn't fly. Just like on a school committee, I like to know that I'm making a difference, as opposed to, even though the superintendent has a lot of legal leeway, and the school committee doesn't. But nevertheless, the school committee does control the budget, or actually adopts the budget. The superintendent controls it as far as expending, and through the business manager, of course, and whatnot. But you know, I've had this conversation with Dr. Malone in that you know, don't push the school committee aside. Same thing. Don't push the city council aside as far as the mayor is concerned. There's nothing wrong with saying, hey, what's your opinion on this?
Now, you have to deal with the mayor each and every meeting, because he sits there on the school committee,
Right.
whereas the city council doesn't have to do that. Do you
Correct.
find that that's sometimes has you might call it chilling effect?
I haven't found it so.
And the mayor's the tiebreaker. There's
That's correct.
three
Well,
votes.
no. He votes. He votes. He takes every vote. He doesn't just
He
vote.
votes on every issue. But that's his prerogative to do. Or he cannot vote and you know, vote only for a tie. But that's not in the charter or whatever publication that would govern his action on the school committee.
Okay, so he votes each and every time.
Correct.
Right.
Does he have, do you think a mayor sitting on a school committee is a good idea to begin with?
I think a lot of it is, you know, and I've said this before because this came up during the charter review process. A lot of it is a question of who the individual is. You know, with some individuals, it can be bad. With other individuals, it could be a very good thing. But I think in general, the plus on having the mayor sit on the school committee is that if he did not, he would not be as closely involved with school issues. When he is there, he has to be there just by the fact that he attends every meeting, that he hears what's going on and whatnot. He has to be more intimately involved with the school, and it makes him better capable of selling the school district to the city council.
Yeah, well, you're right, and it's because he listens to every one of the school committee
Correct.
people.
And he votes too on
And
it.
then he
So
votes, so
as
it's,
a result, he's
It's
part
not a
of,
surprise
yeah.
when with
No,
the
no,
outcome.
not at all.
he's part of the decision-making process.
Yeah,
So if you're part of the decision-making process, you own it too.
yeah.
And so it makes things a little bit easier. There's no mayoral challenges. The mayoral challenge has already been done in the meeting.
Yeah.
In there, so.
Now, how are things going with the prospect of a new school?
Well, it's out of our hands right now because we had the vote essentially to approve the construction of a new school. It is now in the hands of the mayor and the city council. So so they have to take a vote to approve the construction of the new school, along with the funding mechanism that goes along with that.
Now, is that going to go before the voters?
After that, after the city council votes on that, I understand that there's supposed to be a special meeting anytime between, I guess it's March or April, so somewhere in that vicinity.
In regards to, first of all, approving having a new school, is that it?
And also whatever funding
The cost.
mechanism is involved in that.
That'll go before the voters. Talking about a lot of money. How much now? 250?
I think
It's
it was
about that, about
260.
260 something.
260.
Started off at what? 180? How did it
Yeah.
jump $70 million? I know we had a hot summer, but
I
70 million. That's
well,
a lot
I
of
don't,
money.
That was a
know where
rough
it started
estimate.
at, but
It certainly is rough. But nevertheless,
250 million dollars.
to
250, 260. But 80% of that is a reimbursement. It will be reimbursed by the state, but not on every item. For instance, the one major item that I know that the state reimbursement will not cover is the gym.
Now, the citizens of Fall River, they'll be allowed to vote. And how is, if they approve, and the city's got a huge multi-million-dollar portion, how is that going to be paid for?
is bonded
Bonding.
over about a
Bonding.
20-year thing.
But I've heard, and I haven't heard all the specifics yet. There's also a possibility that that on this vote by the people, there may also be an item whereby there is an increase in taxes only to pay for the school. In other words, whatever your tax rate is, there's an extra amount that people will have to vote on that is dedicated to the payment of
Well, how does
debt
that,
service on the
how does
school.
that fit in with Prop 2.5? If the city's up to 2.5% already,
It's like a fee.
I don't know how.
that's the code word these days, right?
The details I haven't
In lieu
heard
of
yet.
taxes, they call it a fee.
Yeah, that's
It's-
amazing.
It's getting annoying to a lot of people because they're really understanding what's going on.
I understand how it would be very annoying.
You know, years ago, you paid your real estate tax bill, and that was pretty much it, and you had a small water bill. Now the water bill, my bill for water is 4 times the amount of water that I actually use. It costs me, and I'm sure everyone else, more to get rid of the water
Yeah.
than it costs to have it come in.
Right.
Well, that's because of that big tunnel that's under the city for, you know,
And it's not going to get any better because they approved a $120 million amount, right?
Oh, for the upgrades at the water treatment plant?
Yeah. So taxpayers are going to pay for that.
well, you know, unfortunately, and it's the way it is, and the fact that whether you're paying for it, whether it's out of your left pocket or out of your right pocket, everybody is paying for it. So a new vocational school is being built in Cape Cod, right? Although that's in Cape Cod, but still and they're getting reimbursement from the school building assistance program. Right? Big deal. Where does that come from? From your pocket, left or right? Yeah,
Yeah.
same thing. It's happening.
So the new school, any other big projects in the school department?
Nothing of that magnitude, certainly.
I was
Yeah.
very pleased to see in it was yesterday's paper. There was a full-page article on career and technical education at Durfee. I'm happy about that because of the fact that you're developing additional programs, and these programs here will help to the student to going on to post-secondary education. If the student wants to go into to post-secondary education,
Yeah.
culinary arts is one. Well, gee, where did Johnson and Wales start from? It started as a
Culinary arts.
culinary school.
Yeah.
And you can even get a master's degree in culinary arts. You can go on and even get a PhD degree, in education at Johnson and Wales. So that I'm happy that Durfee is finally getting into what should have been done many years ago of having more career programs so that students can look, this is what I'm interested in, and have a stepping stone from there to going on to post-secondary education. And if they don't want to go on to post-secondary education, then they could perhaps get a job with the skills that they have learned. Otherwise, they don't have any skills at all.
And also, just to add to that, when we talk about post-secondary education, most people are thinking college, a 2-year or 4-year college. However, post-secondary education can be technical training. It does not necessarily have to be.
Well, what institute now? Is
Yes.
that considered technical training?
Yes, absolutely so.
right.
And gee whiz, you can get a bachelor's degree now. Wentworth is authorized to offer a bachelor's degree. I'm not sure about master's degrees, but they are authorized
And
to give
that's a
bachelor's degrees.
high-level trade school.
Absolutely.
And even if we look at BCC, they do have some certificate programs that are essentially in the trades.
Now, what about the situation with the cost of higher education? I mean, some per year costs $40,000, $50,000. I was reading a legal case about a divorce, and the child was going to go to college, very prestigious college, $60,000 a year.
Mm.
Is the cost is it worth it?
That's a very good question. It's become
I
totally
mean,
out
it's
of control.
$240,000. It'd be $250,000 after 4 years,
Yep.
easily.
It's totally out of control. It's far, the cost has far outstripped the inflation rate. And I can tell you a story on a little story on a personal level. Before I went to college, I got a scholarship from Citizen Scholarship Foundation. Dr. Fradkin, whom we know passed away not too long ago. At the time, I received $300.
Wow.
I went to the right. When you look at what they're giving out now, when I went to BC, Boston College, the tuition that first year at BC was, let me think, it was, I believe it was $1,200.
$1,200.
And then there was maybe about another $1,000 for room and board. $1,200. It went up to $1,600, and then finally to $2,000 before I graduated. But let's look at the first year tuition. $1,200. I received $300 from CSF for that. So that was about 25%. If I worked during the summer, I could earn maybe $800 or $900 or whatever. So it was manageable. It wasn't like my parents were paying an exorbitant amount of money. I mean, it was decent money for those days, but it wasn't an exorbitant amount of money. Now look at it. At $60,000, if it were my father, or once again my parents, if you just project out what they would have earned from then to now, there was no way that they'd be able to come up with that. along with whatever financial aid that I receive.
Well, it's a huge amount, and
But one thing you have to understand as well is that what's happening right now is that these high-priced schools are saying, whoa, wait a minute, we charge, you know, the $60,000-$70,000 per year. We're not getting enough students. So maybe we should start looking at lowering the cost of schools so that you can get more students involved. Otherwise, you end up, people cannot afford all that.
Well, let me ask you this
Many of them
question.
give out endowments to be able to do that from the alumni.
Do you believe that some students are being charged $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, and other students are getting somewhat of a free ride? So my point is, if everyone was paying $35,000, maybe that would be the cost to go to college for 1 year. But sometimes people believe that there are students in college, they're not really paying that much. And then there are other students who are paying full freight.
Well, you have scholarship students, obviously, and you
To
have
play what,
students who are
basketball?
on financial aid.
To play basketball or football, I mean, I think, you know, I've talked to people and it's disturbing that they might have a student who goes to college and pays $40,000, and someone who is dribbling a ball down a court has got a scholarship for basketball.
That basketball and football brings lots of revenue into the college.
So in other words, it's about money and not really about education. It's not about pure education.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so the professors can get what? $130,000, $140,000. Maybe they get a fancy room. They have parties all year long. Is that what it's about?
I'm not
don't know
sure
about the parties,
where
though.
the costs have come from, but it
Well,
is
I mean,
clearly out of control.
It's sad because there are good students, and sometimes they're, you know.
I have a grandson he's a senior in high school right now, and he's looking at college. Right? Although he's my grandson, so I don't really have a say into where he goes.
Well, Grandpa.
Yeah, I know that, but you know, he has a mom and a dad. That decision is between the mom and the dad and my grandson in there. But he's looked at some fairly expensive schools, and I said, let me give you my 2 cents. When my son was at UMass Dartmouth, I will take care of your tuition, I'll take care of your fees, but you live at home. And you can still have a part of all the happy stuff that is in college.
That was a good deal.
Yeah, absolutely so. He left with zero for a college loan.
I went up to UMass Dartmouth, and I had to work through. I got money from no one, nowhere. Oh, no, I think maybe the 3rd or 4th year, the state of Massachusetts allowed, I don't know if it was full tuition exemption or maybe 1-term exemption because I was a veteran. I'm a veteran. So I got a little break there, but that was it. You know, I don't know how I could get through at today's prices.
Oh, I don't know how these people do. I think a lot of them go heavily into debt. That's a potential crisis.
Well, that's the other sad part about it is the encouragement almost. In other words, to go into debt. The schools, the universities, the colleges, they almost encourage in a way. We'll go into debt. You'll get student loans, and when you graduate, you can pay. So if to go, let's just say for an example, to go through college and it costs $200,000, and you're strapped with this bill. How many years do you have to work besides using the money you earn just for survival to accumulate $200,000?
Takes a long time.
Well, I mean, to the average person, that's an enormous sum.
Yes, it is.
and most people don't have 200,000 in the bank after
no, they
30 or
don't.
40 years of work.
They don't.
And so how is it, you think, how is a kid going to accumulate 200,000 to pay off his debt, still pay for his?
My advice to young people is go to BCC in the major that you choose, your choice. Go and make sure it's in a transfer program. So therefore you can transfer all those credits over to UMass
Oh,
Dartmouth.
yeah.
And then continue on. You get an associate's degree, you get a bachelor's degree, and continue on. You've got your degree in there at a lot less cost. Now, if you say, well, I don't have the full enjoyment of a college life, well, fine. If you're going to take that attitude, then come up with the money to pay for it.
Yeah. Now, what about the technical side of college? Is more important today than ever before?
Absolutely.
Yes, or at least it should be.
Getting an associate's degree in a technical subject is still very feasible,
New England Tech.
cost effective.
I believe so. But, you know, I think we have to address a fallacy, and the fallacy is that you have to go to a 4-year college in order to get ahead in this world.
Yeah, I
And
think
that's
you're right.
not, and that's not as much the case as it may have been 20 years ago.
You're right.
Or so. How many people do we know have gone to a 4-year college, have graduated from a 4-year college, and have difficulty finding jobs or are underemployed? And I think where the need is in today's economy is more in technical fields, and we have oversold college, I think, to some degree in the last 10 years.
Yeah, technical tradesmen, technicians have always been in demand. The nuts and bolts of any country is the people that can put the lights up, get the faucet to work, build the furniture. Other than that, I mean, nothing.
Or who are great with computers, IT, or whatever. But even manufacturing has become more technological now. So,
You know, New England Tech didn't become the school that it is now without having something to offer.
Yeah.
And Wentworth, the same doggone thing. Northeastern University started out as like a career development school, and now that is a huge university.
Well, you know, we're really down to the end of the program. They're giving me the signal. Anything left? Gentlemen, well, look, we'll be back next week, hopefully. It doesn't snow or anything like that, but I want to wish you a Merry Christmas.
same
I
to you.
don't see you again until the next year. And people out there, Merry Christmas. Enjoy it. Take it in a relaxing mode. Remember, it's a religious holiday. No need to celebrate too much. So, see you in 3 weeks.
3 weeks sounds like
All right. Thank you out there for watching, and I'll see you next time. Yeah, I'm building this toolbox.